Mahaparivacharana. The two boys would cook for themselves in order to keep their expenses down. I sent him rupees 1,800 to cover his expense for 6 months. He acknowledged my draft without delay and expressed his gratitude. Time passed. One day I suddenly remembered that I had to pay Hanumantappa for the next 6 months, so I sent him another draft for rupees 1,800. This too was duly acknowledged, but I was surprised to find some currency notes in the envelope along with his letter. Madam, he had written, it's a kind of you to have sent me money for the next 6 months, but I was not in Bellary for the last 2 months. 1 month the college was closed for holidays, and during the next month there was a strike, so I stayed at home for those 2 months. My expenditure during these months was less than rupees 300 per month. Therefore, I am sending you rupees 300 that I have not used for the last 2 months. Kindly accept this amount. I was taken back. Such poverty and yet such honesty. Hanumantappa knew I expected no account of the money sent to him for his monthly expenses, yet he had made it point to return the balance amount. Unbelievable, but true. Experience has taught me that honesty is not the mark of any particular class, nor is it related to education or wealth. It cannot be taught to any university. In most people, it springs naturally from the heart. I did not know how to react to this simple village boy's honesty. I just prayed that God would continue to bestow the best of Hanumantappa and his family. The Red Rice Granary. Every year, our country has no natural disasters in some form. It may be an earthquake in Gujarat, floods in Orissa, or a drought in Karnataka. In a poor country, these calamities have havoc. In the course of my work, I have found that after such calamities, many people like to donate money or materials to relief funds. We assume that most donations come from rich people, but it's not true. On the contrary, people from the middle class and the lower middle class help more. Rarely do rich people participate wholeheartedly. A few years back, I was invited to a reputed company in Bangalore to deliver a lecture on corporate social responsibility. Giving a speech is easy, but I was not sure how many people in the audience would really understand the speech and change themselves. After my talk was over, I met many young girls and boys. It was an affluent company, and the employees were well off and well dressed. They were all very emotional after the lecture. Madam, we buy so many clothes every month. Can we donate our workers to those people who were affected by the earthquake? Can you coordinate and send this to them? Some of them offered other things. We have grown-up children. We would like to give their old toys and old vessels and some vessels also. I was very pleased at the reaction. It reminded me of the incident in the Ramayana where, during the construction of the bridge between India and Lanka, every squirrel helped Sri Rama by bringing a handful of saran. Please send your bags to my office. I will see they reach the right persons. Within a week, my office was flooded with the hundreds of bags. I was proud that my lecture had proven so effective. One Sunday, along with my assistants, I opened the bags. What we saw left us amazed and shocked. The bags were brimming with all kinds of junk. Piles of high heel slippers, some of them without the pair, torn undergarments, unwashed shirts, cheap, transparent saris, toys which had neither shape nor color, unusable bed sheets, aluminium vessels, and broken cassettes were soon piled in front of us like a mountain. There were only a few good shirts, saris, and usable material. It was apparent that instead of sending the material to a garbage dump or the kabariwala, these people had transferred them to my office in the name of donation. The men and women I had met there, they were bright, well-traveled, well-off people. If educated people like them behave like this, what would uneducated people do? But then I was reminded of an incident from my childhood. I was born and brought up in a village called Shikhan in Karnataka's Kaveri district. My grandfather was a retired school teacher and my grandmother, Krishaka, never went to school. Both of them hardly traveled and had never stepped out of Karnataka. Yet they were hardworking people who did their work wholeheartedly without expecting anything from anybody in their life. Their photographs never appeared in any paper. Nor did they go up on stage to receive a prize for the work they did. They lived like flies with the fragrance in the forest, enchanting everyone around them but hardly noticed by the outside world. In the village, we had paddy fields, and we used to store the paddy in granaries. There were two granaries. One was in front and the other at the back of our house. The better quality rice, which was white, was always stored in the front granary, and the inferior quality, which was a little thick and red, was stored in the granary at the back. In those days, there was no communal divide in the village. People from different communities lived together in peace. Many would come to our house to ask for alms. There were Muslim Pakis, Hindu Dashais, who roamed the countryside singing devotion songs. Ellamma Jogatis, who appeared holding the image of goddess Ellamma. Over their heads, poor students and invalid people. We never had too much cash in the house, and the only help my grandfather could give these people was in the form of rice. People who receive help do not talk too much. They would receive the rice, smile, and raise their right hand to bless us, irrespective of their religion. The blessing was always, "May God bless you." My grandfather always looked happy after giving them alms. I was a little girl then and not too tall. Since the entrance to the front granary was low, it was difficult for grown-ups to enter. So I would be given a small bucket and sent inside. There I used to fill up the bucket with rice and give it to them. They would tell me how many measures they wanted. In the evening, my grandmother used to cook for everybody. That time she would send me to the granary at the back of the house where the red rice was stored. I would again fill up the bucket with as much rice as she wanted and get it for her to cook our dinner. This went on for many years. When I was a little older, I asked my grandparents a question that had been bothering me for long. Why should we eat the red rice always at night when it is not so good, and give those poor people the better quality rice? My grandmother smiled and told me something I will never forget in my life. Child, whenever you want to give something to somebody, give the best in you, never the second best. That's what I have learned from my life. God is not there in the temple, mosque, or church. He is with the people. If you serve them with whatever you have served God. My grandfather answered my question in a different way. Our ancestors had taught us in the Vedas that one should donate with kind words, donate with happiness, donate with sincerity, donate only to the needy, donate without expectation because it's not a gift, it's a duty, donate with your wife's consent, donate to other people without making your dependents helpless, donate without caring for caste, creed, and religion, donate so that the receiver prospers. This lesson from my grandparents told to me when I was just a little girl. It stayed with me ever since. If at all I am helping anyone today, it's because of the teachings of those simple souls. I did not learn them in any school or college. Mahaviri Vajan.